Welcome to the How to Edit in Camtasia tutorial. So this is the interface. What you have here is the media bin, and once you've recorded some material, it will be placed in here in the bin. You can click on it and a small version of what you recorded will appear up here, and you can scrub through it. It also appears here in this main window, frame by frame, which means that you can make changes. Handles appear in these corners when it is selected, and that means that you can resize it. And this little circle in the center means that you can actually rotate it around. The other thing that you can see on the interface is the timeline down the bottom. It shows the very top part of the audio, the top half of the audio waves, and that kind of tells you how loud the audio waves are when you've stopped talking. And the playhead here shows you what frame is being shown on the screen here. So if you slide it around, it changes the frame that is displayed in the window. And the other thing to say about this interface is that if you right click in the media bin, you can import other media that you might want. It opens up a browser and you can browse to where that media is and then click import. There's also other things which you can drag into the bin, which are basically just kind of things which you can put on top of your the movie that you're making, that can kind of just add to it. And so the next most important thing to do is to make sure that you save your project, which is easy. It's under File, and then you can click on Save. So when you're beginning your project, the first important thing to do is to set the size of what the movie is going to be, and that's easy to set the size. It's just under this drop down in the corner, click on Adjust Canvas, and if you click in this flyout, it gives you all these options. We're going to probably just use the default. So now to begin your project, you just can drag any of these raw media files into the timeline, and these windows show up showing you where you can drop it. You can also drag other things from this media bin. And drop it in the timeline. There's a number of levels to the timeline, and basically it just is showing where something is overlaid on something else, as you can see here. So you have the bottom frame, which is from this media strip is underneath, and then the annotation is sitting on top. And it's the same, just as this is above this. In the top window, this frame is sitting on top of the frame which is underneath. The other thing about the window is that if you want to look at anything, if you want to zoom in, you can just scroll forward, or you can use this drop down to go to different sizes. There are a number of ways to preview your project as you're working. You can click on this play button. You can also just simply hit the space bar, and then hitting the space bar again will pause the playback. There's, like I said before, if you can drag along the playhead, and you can drag through your project. So as you're making a project, you'll have a number of things in the media bin. It's easy to add them to the timeline by dragging and dropping. And as you're making a project, you'll want to trim it to where you actually to take out things that you don't want. It's quite easy at the beginning to trim your project. As you can see here, I mean, it kind of helps with the audio because you can see where you start talking. So you can drag the playhead to where you start talking, and then it's just a matter of waiting until the cursor turns into this line with an arrow, and then you can actually drag the clip to the playhead to trim it. Now if there's bits in the middle that you want to trim, then that's a matter of dragging it to that part, and simply holding down Shift, and you can actually drag the playhead until you have a selected area, and then if you right click on the mouse button, choose the Ripple Delete button. And what happens when you choose the Ripple Delete is it actually sews the clip together again so that there isn't a gap. If instead you chose to just delete, it would leave a gap.